In the shadow of the towering mountains, in the highlands of East Africa, lies a kingdom unlike any other in African history. A land that watched the storm of colonialism sweep across the continent, but stood tall, unmoved, undefeated. This is the story of Ethiopia, the only African empire that not only refused to kneel, but defeated European colonial power not once, but twice. In the late 1800s, Europe was hungry, hungry for land, hungry for power, hungry for Africa.
We must conquer Africa.
The Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 had carved up the continent like a birthday cake, without a single African at the table. Britain took Nigeria, France claimed Senegal, Belgium swallowed Congo, and Italy, they wanted Ethiopia. But they didn't know Ethiopia wasn't waiting to be conquered. Ethiopia was ancient. Ethiopia was armed. And most importantly, Ethiopia was united under a man named Emperor Menelik II.
We have to be united to fight the colonial masters.
In 1896, Italy made their move, believing Ethiopia was just another unorganized African territory. They marched in, arrogant, underprepared, and unaware that Menelik II had spent years preparing for them. He had imported modern rifles from France and Russia, organized his people, and forged alliances with rival clans. On March 1st, 1896, the two armies met at Adwa. The Italians came with 17,000 men. Menelik brought over 100,000 Ethiopians, farmers, warriors, priests, even women, all ready to defend their soil. The battle was swift, brutal, and by the end of the day, the Italians had lost thousands. The survivors, they were either captured or humiliated and sent back home. Ethiopia had done the impossible. An African army had defeated a European force on African soil with African leadership. After their defeat at Adwa, Italy signed the Treaty of Addis Ababa, recognizing Ethiopia's sovereignty. For the first time, a black African nation stood recognized by Europe as an equal. The world watched in shock. African people across the continent rejoiced. Black people in America and the Caribbean celebrated. Ethiopia had become more than a country. It was now a symbol of African power, of dignity, of hope. But Italy never forgot. And nearly 40 years later, they returned, more vicious than before. In 1935, under dictator Benito Mussolini, Italy launched a second invasion. This time, they brought over 500,000 troops, tanks, airplanes, and even chemical weapons. Ethiopia was ruled by Emperor Haile Selassie I, a wise and spiritual leader who had inherited Menelik's legacy. As bombs fell and mustard gas burned villages, Haile Selassie did something bold. He stood before the League of Nations, the world's peacekeepers, and gave a warning.
It is us today, it could be you tomorrow.
The world turned its back, but his people didn't. Ethiopian fighters known as Abek Nok The patriots disappeared into the mountains. They waged a fierce guerrilla war that bled Italian forces day by day. In 1941, after years of occupation, the moment came. With the help of African soldiers from Kenya, Nigeria, Sudan, and South Africa, and assistance from the British, Haile Selassie returned from exile. The Italian Empire crumbled. Addis Ababa was liberated. The flag of Ethiopia rose again, and the Lion of Judah roared back into history. Ethiopia stands today as a reminder that not all resistance is crushed, not all kings bow, not all history ends in chains. The story of Ethiopia is not just about war, it's about identity, it's about unity, and it's about the power of a people who refuse to be erased. So the next time someone says Africa didn't fight back, tell them the story of Ethiopia, the empire that refused to kneel and won. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Comment below with the name of another African hero or kingdom you would like us to cover. And remember, we don't just tell stories, we preserve them for Africa, for the world. Thank you.